Marielle, you're joining me every call from now on again, okay? Okay, so actually, let me make her a co-host because I asked her to come in late. Okay, so I'm working with this orphanage. I'm going there after, working my shifts there, graveyard shifts, have all this stuff going on, and I get really close with them, and then they tell me that they are being told they need to move from this. It was awful. Like the kids didn't really have real rooms. It was in this like shacky looking place, and there was like 60 kids at the time, and they became part of my family. And of course, they're like, and you need to help us. It's like, we need you to help us move. And I was like, I can't do that. I'm busy building a business. I've got like freaking Philippines, all this kind of stuff. And without having anyone else to do it, I stepped in. So at the same time of having all that on my plate, I was building from ground up an orphanage. It was insane madness. And so one of the things that I wanted to, the reason I brought that story up is because when I moved there, I had to, because it was too much. I was going back and forth every 3 months. I'd stay there a month. I'd be back 2 months. I'd go there a month. And I just, like, the construction wasn't working well. I brought Alejandra from Peru to the Philippines to help me out. That's where we met. She worked for me in Peru. But the thing is, there was a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to go live there. And I'm not going to leave until I build that orphanage, period. End of story. And I was like, oh, like leave the States and everything I love and go live in like Southeast Asia. And so it was like, let me tell you, I did everything I could to be able to come home and see my kids, to come home and see my family. That was on the line of, you're not leaving until you move these kids in. That was intense. And that was the thing that, like, I was able to bring in so many more resources. That's when I moved Alejandra out there. I need your help in the business here. We're closing Peru. I can't, we're going to make some decisions. I've got bigger goals that are aligned more with somebody bigger than me. And so it's time to like really hone in. And so that's the type of stuff, right? And the reward was I got to go home and be with family. And obviously there were much bigger rewards. These kids are still all there, and we still, house 50 to 60 kids and take care of them. And it's like the most beautiful thing. But that was aligning to my purpose. And that's why the purpose is so important. My greater purpose in the world is much bigger than building software or coaching entrepreneurs. It's way more than that. And so I want you to think of what is your greater purpose in life. And for a lot of years, it was my kids. And when they got out of the house, they're still an important part of my life, but then it was like, what's next? And that's when the orphanage came in. So not saying that we all need to go out there and, build orphanages or anything, but that was what kept me so focused. Okay. So the next thing to think about, or the next word to write down, is decision making. So many of us struggle with like decision paralysis, or the lack of ability to make a decision, or to rely on other people to decide for us. Really part of, and I'm sure I've said this to a few people in the community, part of it is the ability to just make that decision and do it, period. Because if you go into doing things and you aren't fully committed with 100% decision on what you're going to do, you're going to find distraction, or distraction's going to find you easily. Once you decide, then you go in. I mean, there's just like no better way. So think about everything, and think about, here's another way to look at it. Can you tell yourself when you are getting all these distractions and not being focused? Okay, I'm deciding to be distracted, and I'm deciding not to live my full purpose. And I'm like, no, why would you say that, right? None of us would do that. But make sure whatever you do, you start it with, I'm deciding this. So the minute I go to get distraction, okay, that's my decision to be distracted or not. What am I going to choose? Which one am I doing? No, I'm going to decide to focus on what my greater purpose is. I'm going to decide to focus on what I said I was going to achieve today, this week, this month, this year, whatever it is. And then with that is about having really clear goals, right? And so that's like the results goals. I love to teach about goals, and we'll go over a little bit of that today. But do you know what your 1-year goals are? Do you know know what your 5-year goals are. And you don't have to, but especially 5 years out, if you don't have 5-year goals, at least know where you want to be in 5 years. And that to me is a goal, right? And there's a lot I've had some people say in the time we're stressed, you're too focused on like these goals and what if they don't happen, blah, blah. No, I'm ever changing. I'm okay if my goal keeps getting bigger or if it changes and I really, really align with it, that's okay. But if I don't have if I don't have nothing, then it's like getting on the road to drive to central Mexico without GPS. Like that's stupid. I would never, we'd never do that because there's like half the roads aren't even paved. And so, we wouldn't do that. So why would we go into life? Why would we create a business and build a life? How can we build a life we love if we don't have those goals for what that life looks like? How can we build a business that brings us all the results we want if we don't have that navigation set? Now, I might be setting towards Oaxaca and end up in Cancun. Hey, that's okay. I'm fine with that. I'd be happy with that. So, but I know I know where I was headed and I know where I'm headed all the time. And so once we start getting closer to where we are going, so we could start analyzing, we start reevaluating and then say, okay, I'm almost at Oaxaca. Is Oaxaca where I'm going? Or am I going to keep going to Cancun? Right. And I can make that decision there. So very important to have clear goals, and then be able to prioritize them. Another thing I wrote down is scheduling and calendars. And I'm going to tie all this together in something I'll show you in a little while, but scheduling time, right? I look at there are times where my calendar has full-blown appointments, or there are times where it has blocks of things that I'm going to do because I've been clear what I need to do for the week, for the month, whatever. Then I go in and I block time out to do it. I treat it like a meeting that I have with somebody who clicked on my let's meet, or or a consulting client or whatever it is. I treat it the same way. It gets that same value as me meeting with somebody else because it's my meeting with me. It's my appointment with me to achieve the goals that I want to achieve. Guess what? That should be more important than all the other ones. Although sometimes we prioritize everyone else before ourselves. I know I'm guilty too. But the thing is that you want to make sure when I put it on my calendar, if something goes on my calendar, in my mind, that's something important. And it's something that I'm going to value the time that I have blocked out to do, unless something, and being an entrepreneur, by the way, everything I say comes with the caveat too, we have to be flexible too. Like not everything goes the way we want it to. That was one of the things that probably caused a lot of my burnout before, is because I was so set on things. And then when it didn't happen, I get upset and frustrated. And, I wasn't good at pivoting right away. I was just, nope, I got it. I said I was going to do it. I'm doing it because I was so focused on that. So what I have learned is a really great leader, a great entrepreneur is also flexible and also knows how to reevaluate and understand if that's the right direction. So just remember that when I say these things. So using your calendars to block out important time chunks, and even like when I started my business when my kids were grade school and high school still. Maybe they were both in grade school. And I was a single mom. I had no family, no help. I was by myself in California. My family's from Arizona, and their dad was in who knows where. And so, it was really hard to find the time and do things. And so oftentimes I would work when they were sleeping in the evening. I remember back then getting like 3 to 5 hours of sleep and thinking, oh yeah, this is so good. I'm a superhero. I could do this. Yeah, right. That comes with burnout. But I would also, when I would block things, I would be really clear with my kids. Okay, boys, I really want to, and I have to get this done. And I need this hour of no interruptions. And I had crazy boys. They were so hyper. They're still crazy hyper. And they're 29 and 31 and But you know, they have hyper mom too, so I guess it runs in the family. But I would tell them, and here's the thing, I would align them with what the purpose was. You know what? If I'm able to achieve this, we're going to be able to move out, get a bigger house. We're going to be able to take you on that vacation that we've been talking about. I'm going to be able to put food on the damn table. There was a time where that was a thing, you know, where putting food on the table was an issue. And so when I could tell them, like, okay, these are my time blocks, talk to me before or after. And I got to tell you, they would come, it'd be 5 minutes before that time came up. And they're like, okay, I have a question. They wouldn't even know what questions they had. They just knew they needed to tell me before. And then I would get in there and get it done. And then afterwards, you know, we go for ice cream, or I mean, we didn't always have to do something. But my point being is I just aligned them with that and what the greater vision was, and what me being able to focus on some things during some time blocks was going to do for us, for them, right? Everybody wants to know what's in it for them, right? Whether we acknowledge it or not, like a lot. And so what was in it for them, for them to, you know, let me have my dedicated time to focus. And so, you know, it worked out. I mean, they spent a lot of time in my office. They were, you know, after school, they'd come and be like, okay, you know, at 5 o'clock, I'm all yours, but I need this time to dedicate. So being able to do that is important. And then another thing to do is, a lot of people, in myself included before, will get frustrated in the bigger picture sometimes. Like, I'm a big picture person. And then I also would get in the circle of big picture sometimes. And so being able to break things down into smaller chunks is really important. So once you think big picture, now breaking it down into little steps. And I'm going to go over that in a bit too. And then the last thing that I wrote down to focus on is about analyzing and planning. And I saved it for the last because it's like the most important part, pretty much tying everything in. You know, so many people go into things without having a plan or thinking it through. Some of you might hear me say strategy. I use that word a lot. But really, if you're not really sure and you don't have a solid plan, it's going to be really hard to stay focused, because you're going to be all over the place. And even to today, I start things sometimes without having a plan, without like really prioritizing and all this stuff. And then I get to the end of the week and I'm like, I did not accomplish nearly anything compared to what I normally do. And so being able to plan it out. Like, I am a planner. I'm not by nature, by the way. Everything I'm telling you today all had to be developed, learned, retrained in my brain, because I am a person who is like fly by night, very spontaneous. I want to just do whatever. And it really was hard to get to that point, to plan things out so that I could get things done. And then I get to go be spontaneous. So sometimes my reward is spontaneity, right? If I could get all this stuff done, then go do something crazy, go do something fun, go out and do, you know, that. And so proper planning is always going to be your friend. And that's something that we don't value enough and we don't think about enough, and really put enough thought to it. Meaning, you should be having sessions on your calendar blocked out every week for planning, for whatever it is. If you don't have that, get that on. That should be such a juicy, you know, think about strategy and time to like really think, what am I going to do? What am I working on? What's more important? What am I prioritizing? What am I launching? What did I say was going to launch and I didn't launch? And why not? What is getting in my way? You know, and part of the planning is the analyzing. You got to give yourself time to go, like, what is working? What isn't working? Where am I wasting my time? Where am I not focused in? Because the end of the day, it's your goals, your dreams, your purpose. And I don't know about you, but leaving this earth and not achieving those things really is like, it's not scary. It's depressing. It sounds awful if I don't get to finish these things I want to do while I'm here on earth. So, so that is all in a nutshell, some of the things that I really focus on. What I want to share with you is something I created a while ago. And let me, oh gosh, all my screens. Yep. So I now use a lot of software and systems to do the things that I want to do. But I started off like always using like Excel spreadsheets, Google Docs at first when I was managing all the different things. Like I had on my development team, I had to manage all the different the updates, the QR, quality review, the UI, the user interface side, it's pretty much like, if you think about project management, I think all of us should do training in project management or stuff like that. Like if you've got a lot of things you want to achieve, because it teaches you so many skills on how to like prioritize and then how to manage and make sure all the things happen. Now, if you have some really, really big, like you want to grow to a point of you have a team, you also have to master delegating. There's no way around that. If you are not a great delegator, then you need to be one before you start hiring people. Because as someone who has had an outsourcing business since, gosh, 2004, yeah, it's been 24 years already. It's like delegating is so important. And I see so many people, they don't do it effectively. They don't do it efficiently. So if that's a goal, that's something definitely to work on. But if not, like one of the things I do is, oh, this is an old one. I could wipe all this stuff out. Pulled an old version of it because it was one that was like easier for people to follow that I wanted to share. I have a newer version now, but this is part of when I did my training with Tony Robbins and the RPM method, it totally aligned. Like it made sense to what I was already doing, but like helped me do it in like 5 times the speed. It was so amazing. And so the RPM is part of what it's called, the rapid planning method, but it's results focused for the R. This is how I remember. So again, results focused, 2 of my favorite words, purpose driven, massive action plan. So results focused, purpose driven, massive action plan. If you could think those words, and again, so I made my tools. And so I would use this every time I was planning something out. My team was going to work on something. Like we always brought out the RPM to do this. And now, like I said, now we use other automated different types of systems, but I still go back to this when I'm launching something new. I've done this for so many years that I don't need it. Like I automatically do it in my brain. So I don't use this now, except for when I'm doing a new launch or something different, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, frustrated. I go back to what works for me, the old way. And this could look however you want it. I just created it for myself. We did go over this in one of the master classes, but I just want to do a real quick retouch before we go into the next one. Your vision. What results are you committed to, right? You're probably going to be dreaming about me saying this because I've said it so many times today, but that's okay. I want you to. So I make sure before I start it, okay, what am I committing is a word. You notice I put some really good words in here that help to like reframe the brain. Now, mind you, I am certified in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. So I think about that and I put all that into play when I'm doing things because I need my brain to work for me. For me. Okay. So what is the outcome desired? So results or outcome. If you're super clear, then why is it a must? Right? This is the why. What is the purpose behind it? What will it give you, the family? The what's in it for me, what's in it for them thing, right? And so when you can align your outcome, your results with your purpose, that's it. Like everything else becomes so easy. Then I think about roles. So this is something really fun that Tony Robbins taught. I hadn't done this before. And roles meaning, who do you need to be to make this happen? And I used to think this is so much fun. Like get creative about names. Like, what was one? I remember one being like something maven, motivational maven or something, right? Like, what kind of role do you have to be? Do you have to be like, okay, I need to be like a little tech guru or something, right? Give yourself whatever those roles are, depending on what you're going in to do. And definitely, you need to be, I wish I would have brought my fun things out. We used to have so many fun. I'll think of some and post them later. I'll find my our old ones. And so we would just get really fun. And what do I have to be? I need to be a strategist. I need to be a focus genius. I don't know. You come up with some cute things and create those avatars, create those personas, create those people that you know when you open your plan up, when you go sit down to be focused, that you step into those shoes and you are now that person, and you throw away all the doubt and all the everything, and you go in there with that mindset, and I guarantee you get it done in like so much, like a fifth of the time, so much less than that. Okay, 3 to thrive. One thing I stop to think about every time, what 3 things do I need to do that's going to help me thrive, right? What are 3 things I must do right now, immediately, so that I can thrive? Whether it's, all right, I need to meditate, I need to breathe, it doesn't matter. It could be, I need to organize, or whatever it is, what helps you thrive. I'm messy when I work, like I have stuff everywhere, but I can't start messy. Like it drives me crazy. So I usually have to organize stuff and just put things in piles and just put them away. And then within whatever amount of time, I'm pulling things out, but I need that to get going. It needs to be like kind of cool. I can come in, I'm like, yeah, this is Zenny, I got this. And so think about what you need to be able to thrive. I also pinpoint what resources I have. And so, Google, AI, my team, just think of all of my coaches, mentors, my Facebook groups, my chats with people, my co-practitioners, whatever it is, like what are all the resources so that when you get stuck, you can come back and not feel stuck. You won't be stuck because you've already written out all by the way, this is part of that planning, right? And strategizing. If you spend this time in this beautiful state and this flow, and you think about every single resource, you will never get stuck. And you will, maybe there's a meditation that you have for when you're feeling frustrated or overwhelmed. If that's one of the things that stops you from doing, then put that link to that meditation there. And then when you get stuck, you go listen to that meditation and you're like, yeah, So I used to list all sorts of stuff, and there'd be no excuse. Now find an excuse when you're frustrated. You've got the tools right here. And then I think about milestones, deadlines, that kind of stuff. I don't call them milestones here. I do when I start to like track it all, but milestones meaning, within 3 months, I want this to happen. Within 6 months, I want to do this. Within the next 30 days, I want to see this. And those milestones are those little sprints before getting to the big thing that you said you wanted to do. Even if it's something you're going to get done during the week, let's say, it's still good to put milestones. Okay, milestones is I have my first draft done, right? And then my second one is I've edited it. And then third is I launched it. Like it could be that simple. We don't have to make this so hard. We get our brains in the way, and then that, basically our brain gets in the way of a lot of stuff because we overthink things. And I am so guilty of that. My son just reminded me of that the other day when I was going through some stuff with my head and was forgetting things again. And he's like, Mom, you're doing it again. You're obsessing over it. Let it go. And I was like, how'd you get so smart? I was like, God darn it, I am doing it again. Because I kept thinking, like, how did I do that? Why did I do that? I don't get it. And he's like, stop it. So we do that. It's part of our human nature to do that. And, I had to tell him, like, honey, I'm a human. But yes, I appreciate you pulling me in with that. I'm going to do better at that, right? Stop overthinking things. And so when you have those milestones, you have something to like, yay, I got there. Okay, cool. What's the next milestone I want to get to? It makes it makes like achieving the big thing so much easier then when you could break it down into smaller milestones. And then this is what I call my brain dump. And usually I oftentimes will do this in paper first. I also get those big, if you don't, because now I'm traveling, I'm like not in my usual space. I used to have huge whiteboards everywhere. And so now I get those like sticky Post-it things that are really big and you can put it on the wall. The pads, they're like small whiteboards or whatever. And I will go through and I will just start writing. Another way to do it are in small sticky ones and like putting a different action to each sticky one and putting them on the wall. I love to do things on the wall, like spread out. It's just, I don't know, it makes me so happy. I'm kind of weird like that. But if you try it, you might too, because, you know, you think about like that mad scientist. It's like writing on here and writing on there and writing all these things out. My flow just goes so great. Try it out if you've never done it and let me know if it's like, if it's a thing for everyone or if it's just the thing that works for me. But when I want to go into those, and that's why I made this a big sheet. It reminds me of my big stickies, the big, you know, my wall. And if I don't have access to that, and this is where the fun begins. Like I started to think, how will I get there? What are the specific things I need to do? Now, and again, to achieve the result and to get your massive action plan. I think of every little thing and I just start, this is my brain dump, and I sit there in such a great state that I'm not judging any thought that comes up. I'm not questioning anything that's come up. This is my time to just flow and write and write and write and write, and to think of every little thing. So when you're thinking about, let's say, a course or a program you're putting out, right? It could be the same. Like, what are all the things you would want to do to when the end of that course? Let's say your course, you want 100 people on your course, right? And it is going to, you know, teach people how to, you know, like reverse stress and anxiety, right? So we're going to create a course and it's 100, you know, I want 100 people in there. I want to make, I don't know, I didn't do the math, but let's just say 10,000, will just be easy, you know, quick, easy, $10,000 on that. And it's going to teach people how to live out of stress and overwhelm. And my vision is that, oh my God, these women are like so excited. Like I've changed their lives. Their families' lives have changed. They're now accomplishing all these beautiful things because I was able to guide them through that. And me, I'm just feeling so excited. I'm now going to take my family on a cruise and I'm going to be able to invest that $10,000 into another program and be able to bring in now 100,000 people. And I'm going to change all these people's lives that are going to be, I mean, do you see where I'm going with that? Like, how exciting does that get? So now when I'm in that state, what are all the things I need to put in place? Okay, okay, got this. I'm going to start writing the core. I need the topics. I need the content. I need emails. I need social media. I need, like, you just start flowing with all the things that you're going to have to do, or you're going to get to do. I'm going to change that. What else would you need? I need the software. I need copy. Maybe I'm not the best writer, so maybe I'm going to need to hire someone to do my writing. I'm going to need to hire someone to do my social media post. I'm just, you know, I'm just going for it. Or I'm going to need to learn how to do social media. I'm going to need a stand for my phone so that I can record myself. You know what I mean? You just flow in all the things you're going to need so that massive action, and you don't stop. Even if it doesn't even make sense, you just keep writing, 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 writing. And once I don't even get to the planning until I have finished this entire thing, because then the planning is so easy, because now you prioritize and you get them all in what I call my roadmap. And so that's when I had created this one, and I would go through and write in all of the different results that I wanted. Now, this is just a method I use. Again, use what you want, take what you want from this. If this is something you're going to do in writing, if this is something you're just going to flow with, or just take some tips from this, all good. But what I have learned, this is where we're getting into like how now to be super productive. What I have learned is that when we could chunk things together and do a group of the same things, they call it chunking. I put the word categorizing here. Then you go into this marketing maven. All right, now I'm going to be marketing maven, and I'm going to go hit out all my marketing tasks during this time block, or financial stuff, right? That I told you I didn't like at first. So I would then come in here and say, this is my marketing category, okay? And of all the things I put down, these are all the things I want to do with marketing. This is my financials. These are all the things I need to do for the financials. This is my course creation. These are all the things I said. So I start to categorize things so that I can go in, like I said, and block the time. And this is where I go back to what I said, you're going to block time. So you're going to block marketing time, let's say. That's the example. Now, when you block marketing time, you only touch these marketing things and you put yourself back into that state of what you said you were going to be to, like to be able to get this done. And you go knock out all of your marketing things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you don't stop, until you've either finished that period of time. There's the Pompani method. I forgot. There's a method where it's like sprints where you go in, I can't remember the time, like 50 minutes, and you just like go, and then take a break and don't do something.
Pomodoro. It's a
There you go.
Pomodoro.
Thank you. Yeah. And so, and I go between, like, I didn't even know those things had names because I never, like, I didn't study time management until later. Like early on, I did the Franklin Covey one and studied on that side, but I didn't like go through all this. I just started finding my own ways. And then I started realizing like there were actual people that created things for the stuff that I was already doing that worked for me. So that's what you could do. You either do it like that, or you are like, nope, I'm not gonna stop until I finish this one thing. So I bounce back and forth. I have time blocks, and other times I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. The other night, some friends were going to go out, and I was like, okay, I can't go until I finish this. And I got to tell you, you would have thought I was on speed or something. I was like, it's dead. And because I was so excited to want to go out. And so, and that doesn't always happen, but they were going somewhere I wanted to go. So I was like, okay, but I can't leave until I finish this. So I was about an hour late, but I still finished it. And I felt so good. Like it was so amazing. So use either way. But what I also do is once I get everything in here, everything that I wrote up, right? This could be as long as you want. And it doesn't matter if later on you decide you don't want to do those things or you're not going to do those things. That's okay. Actually, I put all those things on there because sometimes I do them later, sometimes not. But what I do is, number one, I put a star by only 10% of the things that I have put on my list of things that I needed to do. Meaning these are 10%, no, 20%, sorry, take that back, 20%. Because in everything, almost, really what we work on, scientists, I mean, they've proven this in so much that only 20% of the things we work on is really going to make a big impact on the business. If you think about some of the things that you do during the day, those time wasters, as I call them, 80% of the things we do aren't really pushing the needle. So you really want to think of all these things I have to do this week. So whether it's calls, if everything, pick 20% of those things that you know are the biggest needle movers, the most important things, like a must. I call them my musts. If this does not get done, the entire project doesn't get done. If I don't do this, I can't do anything else. It might be something that just like this has to get done. Like I have to implement a software or else I can't send out all these emails, right? So maybe it's not like a must, but I can't, if I don't have a software to put a course on it, I'm not going to be able to do that unless I'm just going to do it. Or maybe that's not correct because maybe I'll do it in a Facebook group instead. What's the priority, right? It's about you prioritizing. So I go through and make sure if there's 100 things on this list, that only 20 of them have an asterisk by it. Now you know that's your must. Those are the things that are the most important things that you must get done. Doesn't mean they all have to get done first, by the way. These are very important things. And this is going to help you stay focused on that big picture thing. Then what I do is I prioritize 1 to 5. I go through each one of the things and I say, is this a 1 or is this a 5? You would be surprised when you're done with this. And sometimes this could take a couple days. Like I'm giving it, oh, yay. Must like the word surprise. You'd be surprised when you're done with this, how many 5s on there you were doing as 1s before. Mark my words. Later on, when you start to change this way of doing things, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I used to spend time doing those things. And that's actually not as important because you want to prioritize which ones are the most important, which are the ones you have to do first. Okay, so your ones are, I'm going to do this within, let's say if this is a year plan and you're going to do monthly sprints, then a 1 is month 1, a 2 is month 2. If this is a 4-month rollout, 16 weeks, a 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? Like I did mess the math up. You go 1 to 5. If you have to go into 10, fine, if you're doing a longer plan, but if it's a shorter plan, just do 1 to 5. So you're going to have a lot of 1s, a lot of 5s, you know, a lot of different ones. The other thing you want to do is we underestimate the time things take. So when you're in planning mode, you want to think about how long is that really going to take? Not how much do like, oh yeah, I can get that done in 5 minutes. I can't tell you how many times I've said I can do something in 5 minutes and it has a whole bunch of other steps, right? That doesn't happen in 5 minutes. So you want to realistically think about how much time something's going to take. Why is that important? Because you need to block out time, or you get to block out time to be able to do these things. So if you don't know how long it's going to take, then how much time do you know to block out? And then how are you going to achieve a goal by a certain amount of time if you have no idea how much time things take to do? So I definitely, like, I go in, okay, this is about an hour. Gosh, I'm not that, you know, I'm not great at this. I'm going to have to learn this. This could be like a 6-hour thing, right? Because maybe I have to take that 6-hour course or whatever, right? So you want to be able to block out appropriate time. I think about also who I have that I can leverage on things. Leverage or delegate, or I put assigned. So I have a team. I've always had a team. And so I haven't always had enough people on my team to support me, but I've had a team. And there's lots of times I've had to do it myself because the team's busy helping clients or doing other things. But what I think about is who can I leverage? So leverage meaning, you know, so-and-so is really good at marketing. Maybe I can ask her a few questions on how to do this. And so I'm going to put her down as a leverage. Or, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to sign this over to Marielle to do this for me. And so I start to go in and it's a high priority or low priority, but I'm leveraging who I'm going to assign it to if you have a team or if you know, are outsourcing or work with other independent contractors, whatever it is, because then I could take this out and assign it and delegate it and now only keep what's good for me or what I get to do. So that'll take out from the brain all the stuff now. So if you have like a marketing person or a website person and you know you have to do all this stuff, I typically things like websites are usually 3 or 4 items on here because one of it is website copy. One of it is a tech side. One of it, copy, tech, automation, or one will be the website, like the design and the automation. And I can't remember. So anyway, so you'll see website in there 3 times sometimes. Maybe I'm doing the copy, my tech person's doing the web, and somebody else is doing the automation. So at least I put it out here and then I know who's doing what. So this gets you like, yes, I know where I'm going and I know what everybody else. And here's the thing, if you're working with other people, then they know what's on their plate, you know what's on their plate, and everything just goes so much better. I also do start and end dates so that I can keep myself accountable to starting and ending on time. And meaning, and then when I fill this out, once it's a big plan, and what I want you to know is this may seem overwhelming for some of you, and maybe your plans aren't going to be that big. Maybe they're going to be massive. But the one thing, the planning part sometimes can feel like the hardest, and it's not the funnest sometimes, unless you get into that mindset. Once you do this, you now have a GPS that you do not have to go back and stop. This is my engine to go, go, go. This is like, I've done it all. I've planned it. I've done the creative. Now I could just go and like be in that state of flow, getting all these things done because I already did the hardest part. This is the hardest part. And this is the, you know, the Garmin that we used to use or the maps that we used to pull out. So when I do this, it's like, okay, this number 1, I'm going to start it on this date and I need it finished by this. That means I won't start this until what day and end on this date. So I really think about what this looks like overall. And then as I'm going through, if you don't use like a system, you can put them in, like, there's Asanas, we use Basecamp, and there's all sorts of task management stuff out there. But you could literally go through and do it on here. And, I put leveraged means I'm delegating it. So that way I can get it out. I could get it off my list and I could assign that. I could create a separate spreadsheet with just what I'm leveraging out and give that to the people. Once you complete it, I get it done and then I hide all my dones. In progress. So what I have in progress. Carried over was my way of saying, like, I'm not going to do it this time, but later on I may. So instead of taking it off, I carry it over. And then when I'm done, because what you'll find is once you have all this like planned out and you start moving the flow, you're like, oh, I didn't need to do that after all. There are some things that you didn't need, or you're not going to do it now. You found other things, or you did it other ways. And so I use those as my main category, my main statuses. And I also, one last thing on this, I do have why and purpose here again. And I do this, I don't necessarily enter it for every single one, but I enter it for the ones that I struggle with, the things that I'm not going to be so motivated about, or the things that I'm not going to be so excited. And I really get clear on what purpose and why this particular task or this particular thing means to the bigger picture. So that when I get to this and I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this, I'm like, oh, okay, I know why I need to do this. And it really then just sparks up that inner joy, that inner like excitement of, yes, okay, once I get this done, I'll be able to do this other thing I really want to do. And then I just create notes and stuff like that. So that is part of how like I put it into a massive action plan, and I map. And then I go in to time blocks now. And you could do this on your calendar. You can do this on a sheet. I look at like what hours I'm working during the day, let's say. I created this for my team, and my team, we used to do this a lot. Again, depends if we have a big project, but now everything is in Basecamp. And so Monday, like Thursdays were a big block for me for marketing. Like just, okay, Thursday's my marketing. Friday's my financial. Fridays, I like block out the first part of the morning to like look at numbers and reports and, the stuff I didn't like before. So I made it on a day like it's going to end really good, right? It's Friday, it's the weekend, even though weekends, they all seem the same to me. When we work for ourselves, we take Wednesday, Thursday off, and that's our weekend if we want. And then, so I just start blocking out, okay, this is going to be my strategy time, my planning time, my course creation time. And I get those blocks on the calendar and I start to like every single week, I start my week off with what I'm going to do for the week based on here every single week without like, maybe it fails every once in a while, but we have a this week's focus. All my teams, my leads also do that with their teams. And so it's like, what are we focusing on this week? And we all align. And so I also did that. I also do that for myself. So what are you focusing on this week? That's going to get you, to meet these deadlines you've put. That's going to get you to your ultimate goals. And so by Monday morning, I've got, this is what we're doing for the week for myself, for the team. The teams do their own now. I'm excited about that. Like I don't even look at theirs anymore because I just give them what I need done and they do their Monday weekly focus report. All right. So I know I shared a lot and I hope that you have found some gems. And if you have, because this could be a lot of stuff, not everybody is good with doing stuff like this, but how are you feeling? How are you all feeling about being better with time? The art of time management is planning. That's the bottom line, is part of it, right? There's other things too, but the planning part is so key to then just going. The next thing is just like that purpose, that really aligning with yourself and why you're doing it. I remember when I read, what's his name? Simon Simonek's book, probably said his name wrong, but the why, and I forget, I'll start with why. I just like that resonated so much with me at the beginning. Oh, you like the rewards? Yep. that is a way that I have like brainwashed or brain trained or rewired myself to like to do. And it really helps speed up the time in which I get what I want to get done. I love that. Uh, yeah. Any other things that come up that, how about what are you going to implement based on this? So what are your action steps from here? Is there anything you're going to take and put into practice? Why don't you share that? Put it out to the world. And I haven't checked our Facebook group, but let's see if anybody's posting in there. What action steps? Go ahead. Hi, Carrie.
Hi. So when you said like the post-it notes and brain dumping thing, I did that a while back and I want to pull it back out because I've taken notes in different places, and so now I just want to compile it all in one place. Because I keep adding to like what I'm wanting to create. And so yeah, and then it was helpful to just chunk down. I was taking notes as you were talking and writing down like what I want in 5 years, 3 years, 4 months, and then like back and then like literally writing out the goals from that. And then it's just helpful to have this. And I've heard this stuff before and I've done it before, but like sometimes you need to hear it multiple times and then you're like, okay, I'm actually going to do that now. And that was a good reminder, the whole sticky note thing, because I started remembering more things I wanted to add to it. So
Yeah, I remember one time I bought like Costco has a big one, right? And it's like $20, I don't know. But Costco, you can get a huge roll of them. And I just like, and they're different colors. So like I would color code pink marketing, yellow core, whatever it is, right? And then you just get like, put them all out there. And then the thing you could do with the sticky notes is once you've done all the writing on them, then you could actually start like putting a plan on sticky notes, like in your priorities. Here's my ones, here's my twos, here's my threes, here's my fours and fives. And then what you could do is, okay, here's my my top 20 in those rows, right? And then, yeah, so like it's just like the game of Tetris. And you know what I think it does also with the sticky notes is it feels like a game. Like it almost feels fun. So that's the thing. We have to do these little hacks to our brains so that, we make it fun. And so to me, it was like this little game, like, okay, what's going to be one? What's going to be two? Just have fun with it. I'm sure if I had hidden cameras in my house, people would think I was nuts. So let people think you're nuts is what I say. Go for it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Yeah. And so what I'll do is I'll put these PDFs in, or I'll make a PDF of these and put them in the Zoom, or not the Zoom, the Facebook group. So if you guys want these for visuals, I'll share those. What are you looking at, Michelle? I just saw her.
A bird was hovering by my window and it was like trying to get in, but it was just like
Oh,
right at my window here. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's it trying to do?
I was gonna say, what's he trying to tell you?
Yeah, right.
Trying to tell you, do it. Whatever you were thinking of, do it. Yes, Camille.
Yeah, one of my priorities, and I've been like telling myself every day, is because my son, he gets out of school next Wednesday. And so I have like a lot of stuff that I need to get done with Pipeliner. And it's setting like making sure that I feel comfortable with the platform. And I know before Alejandra got sick, she was going to put together a Google Doc on like the how-to instructions. Did that ever get posted? Or is that something that's kind of still in the cloud, so to speak?
It's in progress because I have the team that we brought on is like they're new in training, and I had them like put a draft together. They took it from where Alejandra was, and so she's back, and so that's part of now for her to review.
Oh, awesome! Okay,
to all of you guys.
Yeah, that's on my one of my goals, but I know I'm also waiting too because I haven't been able to make all the office hours and stuff like that. So, and I was able, this was productive for me. I was listening and I was able to, one of my other things on my priority list this week is like making money because, well, and helping other people too. But, yeah, I have some things that I need to take care of. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put together my coaching schedule for the next 8 days. So I put that out and then I already got somebody that booked. So, this was productive for me to listen yeah, some really good takeaways. I think for me, because I'm still kind of like old school, like I'm in between the I'm in that bracket where I get it, but also I don't get it. So I have to write out like my punch list every day. And so I love the planning that is like I'm on track for that. So yeah, thank
That's
you.
awesome. Congrats. Yes. And by the way, everyone, it's okay to make money. We need to make money, period. Not that it's not okay. But what I'm saying is, I was stuck on this for a long time because I was such in the heart of always wanting to give and do things that I ended up like losing a lot of money that way, or money wasn't that attracted. It didn't stay with me. But the thing is, what I realized is I can have a greater impact if I have more money. I have less stress. If I have more money, oh my gosh, I get to do more for people. If I have more money, I get to create more. I get to hire more people to create more of the things I need instead of me having to do it all. And then I get to go do my philanthropy and go on my next mission and all this kind of stuff. So we like getting over that. It's like getting over it being just about money. It's never about money for a lot of us. There's always a greater purpose. So if you align the purpose like in this, and then you align how much you need to be able to do that, then the money is like, okay, I need that to do that, And something we, as women, I don't know that a lot of us, or I'm talking from me, just my experience, my money issues in the past. But money does a lot of good in the right hands, and the right hands are in this room. And so go out there and make a lot of money so you can do a lot of good.
I have a question. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to be doing a class in person about regenerative health and things. And I was thinking, like, I used to just like collect emails, like written emails. And then I had never done anything with them. I've never put them in it. I've never nurtured it. And so now I'm wanting to be proactive with that. So if you were going to teach at an event, would you like offer some type of free resource, or what would you do if you're going to be teaching like a class in person and then you want to, or share, because my course isn't done yet, but I want to still connect with people. I mean, I could, depending on what their goals are, have a call with them and direct them to whatever I'm focusing on at the time.
Is it a paid, like you're going to do a paid live event?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no, I don't get paid. It's more of, they asked if I wanted to offer a class. So I just said, yeah. So I don't think we're getting paid for it.
Do people have to pay for it?
Yeah, they pay for I don't know if we get paid or not. I'll have to ask, because my sister was going to do it. She couldn't. And so they asked me to do it in place of her, like last minute. So I'll have to ask. But they pay to go to the event. So I would,
The people pay to go to the event.
yeah.
Okay, got it. I would create something that that is aligned with that. That's like a entry level to what you're going to be teaching at that event. So think of something, whether, it's a freebie, it's a tips, it's 5 steps to, whatever it is that you're going to be teaching. Or one of the things that I'm going to start working on, because I'm only doing these for a small period of time, but then I'm going to do some like evergreen videos that will be there all the time. And so we'll be promoting whatever it is, right? Like coaching or business strategy, all the things that I do. But some of these clips are going to get like put together and then be on like evergreen, so that we'll be promoting it all the time. And it has to do with like business success and systems and all that. And I don't have to show up every time. So I'm promoting that as a freebie. And at the end of that, it's giving the offer to what I want to sell, right? Or so that way you're not always having to be on camera and taking out that time to put it together. So that's a thought, right? Is a free video that people get that would be teaching them, and it's a recorded video. It's not you live all the time. Or ebooks work really, or the thing is ebooks work really good, but they have to be really well. Like think about people have to want to get that ebook. So it has to be juicy. You've got to give away something that's good, right? So many people don't want to like give away their knowledge because they're afraid they're going to steal it. What's worked for me is teaching people exactly what I do in the exact ways, because a very small percentage of people are really willing to go through and do all of that. So if you give it to them, they're more likely to want to go get it from you in depth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Yeah.
a shorter version of what you're teaching there with the steps, but then it could be, but if you want to be live, where I'm going to show you really how to put this in action or something like that.
Okay, so still have like a form where I capture their emails and then I can send them the free offering, whether it's a video going in detail of like walking them step by step, or
Are they going to give you the email list?
um
The
well, I
people
guess
that
there's different people can take, so there's going to be 3 sessions, so I'm going to be one of the presenters, someone else is, so you can go to different workshops. So I'm going to do one of the workshops, someone might go to another one, so I could have the whole email list for the people who maybe couldn't go. I mean, I could ask for that, I suppose, or
Yeah.
I could just, yeah, maybe that would be better, like for those who missed it or want to recap, here's a video sharing the principles, or I forgot what I even titled it, but anyhow,
Yeah.
yeah, could share
Because
that.
if they're going to give you the emails, one of the things when I used to do a bunch of summits, and so I had a lot of speakers on the online summits and stuff, is when they opted in for the summit, the disclosure said that this email will be shared with all, or your email is going to be shared with all of the speakers so that they can communicate with you. So if people are opting into that and you get that email, you have that email. You have the okay to then put them into your Pipeliner account.
Okay, but yeah, maybe I'll just ask for a list of emails then, if I don't know how they're capturing them, but I'll have to ask.
Right.
Um,
But if you're concerned, like, will people purchase the ticket? Like, or if you're going to do your own marketing, you only need to create all these freebies if you are like, you're actually putting marketing effort behind it. Because don't go create all this stuff if you're probably not going to do
Yeah, I'm
it.
not gonna be the one, they're marketing it. I'm more
Okay.
of, I'm just gonna show up and there's gonna, last time I taught there was like probably like 15 people that took the workshop.
Okay.
And yeah,
So what I
so
would make sure is you have an offer for when
mhm,
you're done speaking,
yep.
so that people come follow you who want to follow you. Make sure you have a good offer. You have, even if it's just a form submission in the system, and to capture that email and take them with you on a journey, paid. I'd probably, if they're already paying for this, then definitely have it be a paid. I wouldn't do free if they're paying for this event,
Hmm.
because they're
So then,
valuing the payment side.
yep. So then from there, just share about the offer and then maybe send a video for everybody that couldn't come to, because not everybody can take the workshop because
Right.
they're the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the end of that video, your offer is there also.
Hmm.
This is how you get to work with me. Here's my link to work with me more.
Okay. And then I can
Yeah.
share the different options for people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, cool.
Mhm.
That'd be awesome. Good for
Yeah.
you.
It's coming up fast, so I gotta get on it. All right.
Okay, go prioritize.
I know.
Go focus.
Focus, yeah.
I'll put the link to that video in the Facebook group. It's one of my favorite ones. Hopefully everybody will like it. All right, cool. I have another one in 15 minutes. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate you all, both here in the Zoom and in Facebook. See, and if you join us in the Zoom, you get to ask questions too, and we get to have fun together. So, all right, everyone. Love y'all. I'll see you later.